themselves are not a lot of work. So once you have them, it's not too much work.
But I also talked about Homo erectus
Yes.
here in Indonesia.
Yeah.
And also about some
salah
of the
satunya
volcanoes.
di sumber di Satonda gitu Pak. Betul sangat banyak sekali di
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kembali lagi bersama saya Hairul Hudaya di acara Bincang-Bincang Rektor. Setelah cukup lama kita vakum di Bincang-Bincang Rektor, kali ini alhamdulillah kita memasuki episode yang ke-40. Dan hari ini cukup spesial bagi kita karena kita kedatangan bintang tamu, salah satu atau dua orang, seorang peneliti yang saat ini datang ke Indonesia, kemudian untuk melakukan program yang dibiayai oleh Fulbright, dan beliau sedang ada di Universitas Udayana sebenarnya, tetapi kemudian melakukan short visit ke kampus kita. Beliau adalah Profesor Pamela dari University of Hawaii, Hawaii Community College, dan juga suaminya Dr. Timothy. Hello, Professor Pamela.
Hello.
It was great to meeting you here.
Thank you. It has been such a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. And so, hello, Dr. Timothy. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. You've been so hospitable. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Dan juga kita tidak berdua saja bintang tamunya, kita kedatangan satu lagi bintang tamu, Dekan Fakultas Ilmu dan Teknologi Hayati, yaitu Ibu Dr. Maya. Terima kasih, Bu Dokter, sudah hadir.
Hello.
Okay.
Nice to see you too.
Ya. Jadi hari ini kita ingin berbincang santai saja dengan Profesor Pamela dan juga Dr. Timothy terkait dengan apa yang beliau lakukan yang ada di sini. So, Professor Pamela, you can speak in English, of course, because we can also translate it to our viewers. And first thing, maybe would you like to please to let us know where was you born and what is your background, educational background, maybe? And what is maybe your research?
Yes, of course. I was born in California, but I moved to Hawaii when I was 6 years old. My father is a geologist who specializes in volcanoes.
I see.
Yeah.
Because
Hawaii has so many volcanoes.
yeah.
So we moved there, and he spent most of his career studying Mauna Loa volcano. And
you were there.
And we lived there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since 6 years old you was there, and your school
all the way through the end of high school.
Okay.
I stayed in Hawaii.
And then
after I graduated from high school, I was accepted at the University of California, Santa Cruz, which is in Central California.
What did you study there?
I studied biology and English literature.
Wow, biology and English
Yes,
literature. That could be
broad.
Abroad, right?
Yes.
Different one.
Yeah, I had a little bit of everything.
Okay. And then you have some experience of working after that?
Yes, and so then after I graduated from college with my bachelor's degree, I enrolled in the U.S. Peace Corps. And so I went to Guatemala in Central America.
I see.
For a period of 2.5 or 3 years, where I worked with agroforestry systems, which is the combining of agriculture and trees into a single landscape.
And after that, you are doing for your master degree?
And then after that, I came back and I worked for another year as in the national park in Hawaii, where I worked as I worked with both insects and birds during that period, and researching native populations of insects.
And finally, you also now working
Finally, I went to the Pennsylvania State University.
For your master and PhD?
For just my PhD.
I see.
I do not have a master's.
Oh, it's combined
I went
program.
Straight from, they don't have a progressive program.
Wow. I understand. That is integrated program, right?
Yeah.
Without any master, but you can directly for PhD.
Start and then you just go directly to the PhD.
What is your field for your PhD?
My field is ecology.
Yeah.
and my dissertation research was on the community ecology of dung beetles in the Brazilian Amazon.
I see.
And using them as an indicator of biodiversity.
Wow.
For
that is
area.
really interesting, because maybe you come there to Amazon or in Brasilia.
Yeah.
Did you come there
I
to do research? Did
yeah,
you stay there?
I never imagined. I flew into the state of Pará. My research was in Pará, and so I would fly into Belém, which is a little port town, and then go out, or I would fly into Sao Paulo,
Sao Paulo,
and then take the bus up to Pará.
That was very maybe challenging and also very interesting to have research there, right?
Yes, research so far from home. And,
Okay. That's really interesting for me, from my perspective. So, and then after that, you when did you join the university, and why you are trying to join that university? What is your passion?
So I came after I finished my Ph.D. program. I returned to Hawaii, where I did a postdoctoral program in the national park.
I see.
Working with invasive species. So with pigs and feral pigs.
Any kind of invasive.
So not nearly as nice as working with birds. But and then from there, I applied for the position at the University of Hawaii Community College. In large part because I felt like I wanted to give back to the people of Hawaii. I wanted to be able to teach younger people what I had the advantage of learning.
Then how long already joined for this university?
Yeah, I have been there since 2006.
2006.
2006.
Well, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, so it was a long time.
Okay. And one question, how did you meet your husband? Where and when?
I skipped that part. That was when I came back from the Peace Corps. And the year that I worked, maybe it was more like 2 years that I worked in the national park. And he had come in as a volunteer in the cultural resources management program in Hawaii.
Okay.
And I was actually, because I was doing a lot of mapping with GPS and GIS, which was very new at the time, and now it's on our phones, but back then I carried a backpack full of equipment, and I trained him on it so that he could map cultural resources.
I see.
And met him that
way. Wow. That is nice story. Okay. Nah, tadi teman-teman kita baru mendengarkan background dari Profesor Pamela ya. Sekarang Profesor Timothy. So, Professor Timothy, let us know about your background. Anything, where were you born and your research or everything, please.
I'm a first generation North American. My parents came from Germany and from England after World War II. They met in Canada. So I'm a Canadian citizen, actually.
I see.
And just about as soon as I was born, my father, who's a biochemist, moved to San Diego to what was then a brand new college, University of California. And so I grew up in Southern California, surfing on the beach. And, went to high school there. And funny enough, I went to UC Santa Cruz as well, the same college as Pamela, although we never knew each other. Our paths never crossed there. But when I graduated, I volunteered in the park in Hawaii.
I see.
And that's where we met.
So what are you researching about? What topic is it?
And so as a college student, I was drawn to anthropology as a discipline, which covers a lot of ground and is very multidisciplinary and deals with both physical and archaeological and cultural and linguistic fields. So Hawaii was a perfect place to go and start my career as a volunteer.
I see.
And that interest grew. And when Pamela was accepted to Penn State, I followed her and applied the next year and managed to get in as well. So I did my PhD there also.
In what field?
in anthropology.
Anthropology as well.
Yeah.
So your PhD as well, the combined like there is no master program as well, the integrated one.
Actually, I got a master's degree along the way, just the way the program was structured.
I see.
But
I see.
yeah, it was. Yeah.
So you were together with Pennsylvania State University, both
Right.
of you, right? Your
Yeah.
PhD was there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you also joined for the University of Hawaii.
Yes, after graduation, we moved back to Hawaii,
Uh-huh.
and Mela's parents are there. They have a small farm with cattle and
Wow. Yeah.
chickens and too
What do
many
you think?
dogs.
Small farm is how many hectares is it? Like
Like
how many are?
23 acres.
Oh,
What is that
23
in-
acres. It's quite,
So
yeah.
eight-
I understand. 23
48.
acres. Yeah.
Yeah,
Around
yeah.
8 hectares.
Yeah, 8 hectares. Wow. Wow. This is great.
And so we have, and they needed some help also. So
I see.
I started teaching at the University of Hawaii at Hilo
Okay.
since, just around the same time. So for about 15 years was teaching there.
That was
in,
really interesting.
mostly in archaeology.
And you just have a talk. Before this one, you have just a talk, right? About what did you?
Yeah, well,
Say.
my talk was about what I call deep time, or prehistory, but even deeper, going way back. I think it's important for people to have a perspective on time.
Exactly.
Because everything these days moves so quickly.
Exactly.
Sometimes we need to...
Because your magnitude is, you said 3.5 billion years ago. This is our human history, maybe generally in average 60, 70 years and pass away.
Yeah.
But
so archaeologists think in these big, broad sweeps of time and long-term processes.
The way you are making, participant understand by using, measuring, and this is very interesting for us.
I really enjoy teaching, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I've come up with a few
Yeah.
little tricks to try and
Yeah.
get the point across.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, thank
And to
you
have them
for your
remember it.
short introduction. Now I would like to talk with Dr. Maya. Ya,
Ya.
Mbak Maya, karena Mbak Maya orang Indonesia, kita bahasa Indonesia saja.
Siapa?
Jadi Dr. Maya mungkin bisa menjelaskan background pendidikan, kemudian mungkin riset yang sedang dilakukan sama Bu Dekan sekarang.
Terima kasih banyak Pak Rektor atas kesempatannya juga mengajak saya berbincang-bincang di sini bersama Dr. Pamela dan Dr. Timothy. Jadi saya S1-nya S1 Biologi di Universitas Negeri Malang.
Ya.
Lalu lulus kalau tahun 2010.
2010.
Nah, setelah itu saya balik ke sini ke Sumbawa, kemudian sempat bekerja selama 2-3 tahun. 2013 UTS buka, saya coba apply gitu dengan ijazah S1.
Ya.
Alhamdulillah diterima di Fakultas Teknobiologi.
Ya, saat itu FTB ya?
Ya, saat
Ya.
itu namanya FTB, Fakultas Teknobiologi. Lalu bekerja sampai dengan 2016. Alhamdulillah, sebelumnya di tahun 2015 ikut tes beasiswa LPDP. Saya ikut yang jalur afirmasi, kebetulan waktu
betul.
itu Sumbawa masih daerah 3T, masih masuk daerah 3T. Jadi saya lolos beasiswa LPDP afirmasi.
Ke?
Gitu. Nah, kemudian
Tokyo University tuh.
sambil nyari LOA, dapat
I see.
LOA dari Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology di Department of Biotechnology and Life Sciences. Jadi sama dengan Dr. Pamela, saya tanpa master gitu karena ada juga jalur langsung S3 kebetulan di univ tersebut yang sebelumnya sudah bekerja dengan background yang kurang lebih sama gitu di lab gitu.
Dan
Jadi
kemarin bidang risetnya di bidang apa?
Ya, lalu riset saya pas S3 itu saya mengerjakan evaluasi laktat sensor gitu. Jadi kadar laktat di darah itu bisa dicek dengan enzim namanya enzim laktat oksidase. Nah, saya bekerja untuk mengecek itu. Jadi bagus nggak enzim ini untuk bisa mengecek kadar laktat di darah gitu. Kurang lebih ya sama seperti ngecek kadar glukosa kalau pasien diabetes itu. Nah, kalau saya ngecek kadar laktatnya gitu. Seperti itu kurang
Tapi
lebih.
sensornya atau apanya? Tadi yang diteliti itu untuk membuat sensornya?
Iya, untuk membuat sensornya itu kan ada salah satu komponennya komponen enzim, komponen biologisnya gitu, karena saya bidang bioteknologi. Kalau komponen materialnya ya ada transducer, lempengan tembaga dan lain-lain gitu. Nah, saya di bagian komponen biologisnya, di enzimnya gitu. Bagus nggak enzim ini digunakan untuk biosensor? Cukup nggak untuk bisa membaca kadar laktat? Seperti itu.
Oh iya, sangat menarik. Terutama mungkin nanti teman-teman yang berkecimpung di bioteknologi ya. Terima kasih Bu Dekan. Now I would like to discuss with you, Professor Pamela. So you're coming far away from Hawaii, from very beautiful country over there with your area in Hawaii. And what are you doing here in Indonesia? Maybe would you like to let us know about that?
Yeah, I have come here to Indonesia on a Fulbright fellowship.
I see.
And that allows me, it provides funding for my travel and a stipend for living. And I am working with Universitas Udayana in Bali with a faculty member, a professor there, who previously did a Fulbright in the United States.
In your college?
He did his Fulbright in Michigan.
I see.
But I was able to invite him, just as you invited me to give a talk, I was able to invite him
Professor
to come
Chokorda.
Yes, Professor Chokorda Tirta. I was able to invite him to come to my university to give a talk.
And then you are doing for a research here, or what did you do?
So I am doing research here on a study of native stingless bees.
I see.
They are in the genus Trigona, which is, the genus itself is fairly widespread.
Yeah.
But Indonesia is very interesting. It has its own species of Trigona. There are about 29 species known across the archipelago.
For the stingless bee.
For the stingless bee.
I see.
Yeah.
So you are doing basically research behavior, or what? Let us know about that.
So the idea of the project is to learn more about bee behavior, essentially, so that we can help small farmers to keep bees on their property in a more efficient manner.
I see.
And so I am looking at a broad swath of things, from just surveying small farmers to get a solid understanding of the ways in which they are keeping bees, because it varies. There's a lot of variation across Bali.
That's really interesting. So what are the findings so far? Do you find some very interesting fact, maybe?
Yeah. So, well, they are interesting in that there's only one species that's native to Bali.
Oh, I see.
And that species is widespread throughout Southeast Asia. And it's handy because the species that is native to Bali is probably one of the most docile or gentle species that we have.
Oh, okay. So very, very specific characteristic, maybe?
Yes.
They are different with the other one? What do you think?
Yes. Some of the others are more aggressive, or they're more, they'll guard their hives a little more.
Yeah.
But this species, because it is relatively gentle, you can keep it on your house. You can keep it near your pets, near your children, and you don't have to worry.
Because stingless.
And they're stingless, and they will not even bite you very often.
Yeah. So what is the challenge, do you think, that the farmer maybe can be faced by the farmer? What do you think?
There are a lot of challenges, and a lot is these bees, they not only collect nectar and pollen, but they also collect resin, so the saps from trees.
Yeah.
And so they are dependent not just on planted flowers,
Yes.
but they have to have
Resin.
trees as well.
Because resin is produced by trees, right?
Right. The resin
Okay.
is most of the resin they collect will be produced by trees.
Okay.
And so intact forest is naturally what they would be using.
I see.
So, but they are also using a lot of fruit trees. And we see problems when broad spectrum pesticides are used on, say, mangoes. Someone will spray their mango and it kills not just the pest, but it also kills the bees. So
yeah.
that's an
That's
issue.
another issue that has been challenged.
Yeah.
Do you think that economically, for example, if the small farmer are trying to keep the bees and to make their own business, I mean, we call it a side job of the farmer that they're keeping for the bees. Do you think that's economically feasible to increase their economic welfare, for example?
The bees themselves are not a lot of work. So once you have them, it's not too much work.
Okay.
They have relatively small colonies.
Yes.
And they're very small bees, so they do not produce a lot of honey. So you might harvest 100 milliliters
Yes.
from a single hive. Maybe you'll
Okay.
get 100 milliliters. So it's not
For how long is it mostly, generally?
yeah, people are mostly harvesting with the levaceps. Some people tell me they harvest every 3 months, but most people are telling me 9 months.
Yeah.
So it's a long harvest, not much honey.
Yes.
But it's high value honey.
It's really high value. It's compared to the normal honey, the original honey.
It is.
I mean, it's
It
different.
is very.
Wow.
Farmers are selling a 100 milliliter bottle in Bali
in Bali.
for about 250,000
Wow,
rupiah.
it's expensive.
Yeah.
Compared to the natural or normal conservative honey.
Right. Yeah. So natural honey, the kind we find mostly in the
mostly,
supermarket, comes from a genus of bees called Apis.
Yes.
And they are much larger, and their colonies are much bigger, and they produce liters of honey in a single colony.
Yes,
so
yes.
you're getting you have many times the amount of honey. So the price is lower because the quantity
How
is
about
higher.
the taste?
The taste, I think, is very nice.
Very nice, dear. Sweet.
It is sweet and sour.
Sweet and sour.
Yes, it's as though you have mixed tamarind and
Okay.
honey in the same.
honey
in
and
the
tamarind,
Yeah,
yeah.
It is a very distinctive taste
Yeah.
and very different from the honey
Okay.
we're used to seeing.
So you think that it is a big opportunity for us Indonesian also to keep that kind of honey? Do you think?
I don't think it will ever change your GDP. I think, but I think it can help small farmers.
I understand.
Just a little bit of extra pocket money.
Extra pocket money.
Yeah, without a lot of extra work.
Yeah, without extra.
Yeah.
Do you think that just only they have to planting flower and also to keep maintain the trees? You see. So what should we do then?
So planting flowers they will eat any flowers, but as an ecologist, I would say please plant native flowers because it is good for the habitat.
Yeah. So for example, I don't know whether you understand. This is a bougainville, right?
Yes.
Bougainville. Do you think that also producing the nectar, or what do you think?
I have
bougainville
seen trigona on bougainville.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
So they will come. I have seen them on almost every flower. If there is a flower, they will come and they will harvest.
There will
from
be
it.
also different tastes, maybe.
I think so. I think when they get different flowers, I see them on bananas.
Yes.
I see them on coconut flowers, on fruit trees like durian and mangosteen.
Yeah.
And then they also collect resins
I
from
see.
species like mangosteen
Wow.
or mongoose.
It's always interesting for me to learn about about bees. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the creatures that always produce a good thing, which is honey.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
And they will help with your farm, not so much rice, but if you have vegetable farms, they will also pollinate and help you get fruit set in your vegetables.
Exactly. The fruits that we are eat actually also because of the hello of this bee, right?
Yes. So the farmer is getting not just a little bit of honey, but he's getting 10,000 workers coming to his
10,000 workers. Very interesting. Thank you, Professor
You're
Pamela.
welcome.
Nah, teman-teman, menarik sekali ya pembicaraan tentang madu ya, yang tadi punya 10.000 tenaga kerja gitu ya, petani tanpa dibayar. Nah, itulah lebah ya. Thank you, Professor Pamela.
You are welcome.
Professor Timothy. Okay, Professor Timothy, you just gave a talk this morning, which is very, very, mind-blowing in my opinion for me, especially to know about the historical activity or historical moment in the 3.5 billion years ago. And you say in your way that this is the time where the earth existed, and then there are many creatures are then created, and then until now, until the human being. What is the main point do you want to deliver to all of the participants?
I think the main point I wanted to make in the talk, not only about Satonda Lake and the stromatolites that are some of the first forms of life on Earth, but I also talked about Homo erectus here in Indonesia, and also about some of the volcanoes that have erupted in the past and had an influence on the history of the Mataram Kingdom and of Tambora, of course, closer to home. So I think my main point was that we can learn quite a bit from history, that the past is not really past at all, and that it's relevant today, whether it's in the biological realm where we're looking at climate change and challenges that presents, or whether it's in the social realm in terms of human diversity and immigration and changing populations, or dealing also now with the management of hazards that volcanoes can present to the population.
You mentioned about Satonda, which is not far away from here, not far away, maybe by boat. How long it will be, 1 hour or 2 hours?
Took us 3 hours on a boat to get to Moyo, and then another 3 to get to Satonda. So it's a little ways, but
what makes you interested with Satonda actually? What is interesting there in Satonda?
As a graduate student, I was always interested in the deep past and in archaeology and also in geology. And so Satonda is an incredibly unique environment, and in my talk I referred to it as a paleoceanographic laboratory, because the chemistry in the water is very different. It's not regular seawater. It has a very high salinity, and it has a high alkalinity also compared to the ocean or Salabe.
You said 120%.
About 120% of the salinity
is higher,
is higher than the ocean, and a pH of above 8.
Above 8. Okay.
So that keeps many organisms from being able to live in that lake, except for these very unique stromatolites, which are some of the oldest on Earth.
I see.
Actually, the ones living there are very young. But they're the same species as ones that lived very long ago.
Very long ago. And you said also there is a effect from Tambora eruption at the time.
Well, the Satonda itself is what they call a parasitic cone on the side of Tambora volcano.
I see.
And of course, Tambora erupted very violently in 1815 and had a great impact on Sumbawa Island and the kingdoms that were living and trading during that time. So it's a very interesting case historically for some of the other social processes and trade and interactions between Indochina and Indonesia, and even some of the changing patterns of language that was being spoken at the time. Unfortunately, I don't have research permits to do real research, so I'm doing my best to, yes, I'll have to come again.
Please come again. We can help you for the research permit and everything in Indonesia. Of course, we respect you also because you know that there is a administration process have been done to making research or everything, and I think our university will be happy to facilitate you if you want to do the research.
Well, I've thought of 1,000 projects that we can get started on.
1,000 projects. Yeah, I really,
including locally Batu Tering, which is a
Batu Tering.
fantastic.
Tell us
site that we visited.
about that. What do you think about Batu Tering?
Coming from the Western Hemisphere, I've never seen anything like it.
Really?
And it's an incredible megalithic site.
Megalithic site.
It could be as old as 4,000 years. And yet the people in Batu Tering still practice their cultural rituals there and have incorporated it into their current beliefs.
Yeah.
The stone carvings of anthropomorphic figures and alligators are just incredible.
Yeah.
Of course, they don't keep corpses in the sarcophagi anymore. That part of the ritual is now past. But from an archaeological perspective, it's just an incredible resource that many questions can be asked of.
Anyway, thank you so much. This opened our mind actually. Actually, Sumbawa presents many potential for research and to talk something about, back long time ago, about the people, about anything in terms of in the point of view of anthropology, right?
That's what I wanted to demonstrate with my talk, that there is so much here and so much diversity.
Then you will come again later.
And, well, yeah.
Thank you, Professor Timothy. Okay. Next. Ya, Bu Dekan, sangat menarik ya tadi pembicaraan dari Profesor Timothy dan juga Profesor Pamela.
Ya.
Nah, kalau dari segi Bu Dekan sebagai dekan di FITH, kira-kira apa perspektif yang Bu Dekan bisa kolaborasikan dengan kedua profesor ini?
Baik, terima kasih banyak Pak Rektor. Betul sekali, terutama karena beliau berdua juga sangat open gitu ya, sangat super enak sekali diajak ngobrol, sehingga background Dr. Pamela juga sangat relatif dengan di FITH. Sangat banyak sekali inspirasi dan potensi untuk yang dapat dikolaborasikan. Pada saat Dr. Pamela kemarin memberikan talks gitu, sudah ada arahan, misalnya kita nanti untuk penjajakan MOU, kemudian kolaborasi riset bersama, publikasi bersama, baik itu nanti let's say main riset utama oleh kita di FITH terkait B tentunya, karena salah satu dari dosen kita di bioteknologi, Bu Riri, itu juga sedang meneliti terkait lebah gitu, lebah madu. Nah, itu beliau bersedia misalnya menjadi reviewer, kemudian advisor dalam desain project, desain penelitian seperti itu. Beliau sudah bilang bersedia, dan kemudian misalnya jadi proofreading, beliau sangat open untuk itu. Jadi itu salah satunya. Kemudian juga di hal lain, research kolaborasi mungkin bisa kita bandingkan variasi atau diversitas spesies spesies honeybee, lebah di Sumbawa dengan yang ditemukan mungkin di Hawaii, bahkan mungkin di Bali gitu. Wow. Itu sangat memungkinkan sekali. Really itu akan sangat banyak topik yang
dikolaborasikan,
yang muncul, ya? Betul. Sangat banyak sekali yang bisa dieksplorasi di situ. Salah satu yang yang sedang kita rintis gitu, misalnya isolasi bakteri dari wilayah ekstrim seperti di Satonda. Wilayah ekstrimnya
tadi diperlihatkan juga coral reefnya ya, ternyata punya ditumbuhi oleh tumbuh-tumbuhan yang berbeda. Betul.
Dari Prof. Timothy dan tentunya makhluk hidup yang hidup di situ itu istimewa gitu, karena hanya dia hidup di salinitas tinggi seperti itu, pasti dia istimewa. Nah, nanti aplikasinya digunakan untuk sesuatu yang butuh salinitas tinggi gitu, yang bisa dijaga stabilitasnya seperti itu.
Jadi, mungkin ada keadaan yang memiliki salinitas tinggi, bisa menggunakan bakteri jenis itu gitu ya, diisolasi bakterinya.
Betul.
Wah, sangat menarik sekali nih Bu Dekan. Terima kasih banyak ini.
Sama-sama Pak Rektor.
Oke. Ya, teman-teman semua, tidak terasa di akhir daripada sesi ini. Terima kasih Profesor Timothy. Thank you so much for the talk. You really inspire us. And Profesor Pamela as well dan Bu Dekan.
Sama-sama, Pak.
Jadi ke depan kita akan banyak menjalin kolaborasi dengan para peneliti-peneliti dari luar negeri, khususnya dari Amerika Serikat ini. Insya Allah nanti dengan jalinan dengan Bu Dekan dan juga teman-teman di FITH ya, dan juga tadi di FISIP dan juga di EPH, Fakultas Psikologi dan Humaniora. Insya Allah nanti akan lebih banyak lagi kolaborasi dengan beliau berdua ke depannya. Ini adalah dalam rangka untuk mewujudkan kampus kita yang membumi dan mendunia. Sampai jumpa di bincang-bincang rektor selanjutnya di episode mendatang. Terima kasih telah menonton. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.